All right, on CRISPR Roots this week, this is 38, episode 38. We've got Gurf Morlix. Gurf Morlix, a legend of American music. And then someone who maybe could be a legend of American music, somewhat along the same vein, a guy named Chris Acker. All right, so let's start with Gurf Morlix and his new album, In Love at 0 Degrees. This is his second album this year, and I intended to talk about the first on CRISPR Roots, but I didn't love it. Gurf is a little bit uneven, but this is a great one. In Love at 0 Degrees. How about that name, Gurf Morlix? I think he's originally from upstate New York. Maybe he doesn't think it matters what his name used to be. That seems like such a late night at the studio thing where, all right, Morlix. I always think I have more licks to give as a harmonica player. And that's probably what Gurf had to give as a guitar player and songwriter. Gurf Morlix was associated, really, it's kind of an amazing piece of connective tissue through alternative country music, let's say. Gurf was connected with the great legends of Austin music, Blaze Foley and Townes Van Zandt, who were connected with each other. And maybe in some ways he kind of wants to be Blaze Foley, which is, he put out an album called Blaze Foley's 113th Wet Dream, where he covered the music of Blaze Foley. But to be that kind of outsider artist, I think Gurf could have gone a lot more insiderish, but he purposefully cultivates an outsider persona. Now, one thing I've got to say about Gurf that will forever impress me is that he was Lucinda Williams' guitar player and producer, and he produced her first couple albums. There might have been a couple earlier, actually, blues albums. But anyway, Lucinda Williams and Sweet Old World. Sweet Old World is one of the great classics of American music. The song itself, the album, and the song itself, Sweet Old World, is, I think I might have said this here and there, and even in books, the most beautiful thing ever made. Sweet Old World by Lucinda Williams. He gets credit for that one, man, for producing it, dude. And I guess they had a big falling out around the time of Car Wheels on a Gravel Road, that legendary album by Lucinda. I think she would have been better off with him all this time, maybe. But anyway, whatever. One reason I want to talk about Gurf Morlix is that round about 2002, he put out one of my favorite albums. I reviewed it for the New York Press, and I listened to it lots, and I've listened to it ever since, quite a bit, called Fishin' in the Muddy. He's got dozens of albums, maybe, Gurf. And like I say, they're a little mixed bag, and some of them aren't even hardly produced, okay, because he's doing this Blaze Foley outsider artist thing. But Fishing in the Muddy, every song is great, man. The production is beautiful, a la early Lucinda or something like that, okay? He's still full production mode, or at least on this album he was. So, here's a song that I certainly hear about as being about Lucinda Williams. This is one of the songs that runs most frequently through my head, my whole, for 20 years now.
Tell me what it's like at the center of the universe. like. Tell me what it's like at the center of the universe. Tell me what it's like to carry that kind of curse. I'll never know what it is to feel that thirst. So tell me what it's like at the center of the universe. What you gonna do when it all comes falling down? What you gonna do when your world stops spinning around? How you gonna make it home when they take away the crown? What you gonna do when it all comes falling down?
Well, and I mean, I was kind of married to a diva-ish person at that time. Not to put her down, Marion Winnick. But I guess I was hearing that as partly about my relationship too. At any rate, there's a bunch of great songs on this album. I mean, I don't recommending this one old album and this big oeuvre seems kind of silly in a way, but like the title cut of Fishing in the Muddy, I'm Hungry and I'm Cold about a homeless guy or whatever. Like, these are really good songs. So as we deal with the new one, it's a little more produced than the last one, the earlier this year album. I'm trying to remember the name of that one. And I think that works. So let's just play. Here's the first cut, and it gives you a sense of the sound, which I think is really strong. This is a really good Gurf album. It's a little less despairing than some of his work, but it still is pretty melancholy.
Let's talk about bravery. Let's talk about heart, about passion. Let's talk about art. Let's break it down, take it all apart. Let's talk about love. Let's talk about man and machines, trampolines and guillotines. Let's blow pretense to smithereens. Let's talk about love. Let's go drifting in the wind. Let's float all over again. Though we know we may not win, I wanna feel the touch of your skin again. Let's try to find something in this crazy world.
Ooh, that's good Gurf. I like it a lot. I guess this is a love-themed record, so that's an appropriate first cut. Let's talk about love. And I mean, I guess I was going to play a couple different things, including the title cut, but just to frame it up, like, okay, so let's talk about love. And then the last cut, which is called Petals Fall, which seems to me like it's almost got the status of a standard. Like, it's a beautiful composition in a hyper-traditional mode. And the fact that it kind of hits a cliche and hits it hard just emphasizes that. And so I feel like this is a pretty classic song, and it also gives a coherent cyclical quality to the album. The last cut, Petals Fall. And speaking of Marion Winnick, I could say this to her too, I guess, probably. Some of it. Petals Fall by Gurf Morlix from Love at 0 Degrees.
500,000 shitty songs about what I'm going through, but None of them songwriters could offer me a clue. 8 billion people I could have run into, but no, it had to be you. Yeah, you. You told me you loved me, I think sometimes it was true. Hurt me so bad, I didn't know what to do. I tried to run to find somewhere new, but everywhere I went, I saw you. Hearts entwine, vines tangle, twist and turn, lives dangle, lovers ache, time slows, everyone knows the petals fall from the rose.
Right. I don't know. Quite a beautiful song. All right, let's, do I have a harmonica? I don't. Really should. Been playing all the time. What did it want bow do? All right, let's go on to discuss Chris Acker's album, Famous Lunch. I don't know much about him. Seems like a young singer-songwriter, maybe sort of in a Gurf Morlix vein. I mean, Gurf, in an interview I read, they asked him something like this: I heard you actually like your instruments out of tune. What the fuck are you doing? That's probably the Blaze Foley effect. He used a guitar held together by duct tape. And Gurf says, well, if it's too far out, that sucks. But if it's too perfect, if the tuning is too perfect, it's dead. And there's a lot of dead pop music. Now, on the other hand, you can go a little too far off on the other tip, where it's just so rough, and you don't even bother to edit in a way. And Gurf really has that as a danger. Okay, he needs to allow himself to craft a little bit, and he can so beautifully. Maybe Chris Acker has a similar dynamic, but when he does it, when it comes together, the specific detail and the idea, like, I'm going to say what really happened, and I'm going to say it in my own plain words, and I'm going to let that stand even if the rhymes aren't perfect and things like this, I mean, when it doesn't work, it's just like you're going like, huh, man, you should have really worked on that a little more. But when it works, you go like, fuck, it's imperfect and it's perfect, like Lucinda Williams, okay? Here's like one of the more written moments that really gives you a sense of Chris Acker as an artist. I think this is really good. Wouldn't Do For You, Buddy is the name of the song.
Smiles hold that secret vague and tired, and I don't
the sound. It's kind of easy folk. Definitely not too polished up, right? Including on the vocals, but that's obviously a intentional effect. Very unusual composition, some of these things. Okay, here's a baseball ballad titled Game 6 of 86. And it's also a biography of the baseball player Bill Bruckner, who lost that game famously. In a way, telling the story of a baseball game in a country song, like in detail or whatever. Suddenly you realize, a sporting event can be a ballad like that. It can have a ballad quality. And Chris Acker brings this out. Game 6 of 86 by Chris Acker from Famous Lunch.
One was on, two were out. Game 6 of 86 with 3-2 count. Mookie Wilson hit a driller of the first base line. Bottom of 10 and the game was tied. Little roller went through Billy Buckner's legs. The winning run scored from second. Just minutes ago there was no one on. Bob Stanley's wild pitch and it all went wrong. In Vallejo, California, public housing lawns, Bill and his brothers played a wiffle ball. The boys and their sister and their mother Marie lived with the temper of their father's dream. Marie worked for the highway patrol. Leonard was their little league coach. When his habit drove him off the road, Marie was left to raise 4 alone. Bill gave himself to school and baseball. Big bushy eyebrows, 6 feet tall. Drafted by the Dodgers in '68, he was in the lineup by the new decade. Aggressive and competitive, self-critical perfectionist, known not for his great success, only for that ball he missed.
What was that thing we listened to last time? The Ballad of Julius and Ethel? Never heard anything like that before. Like a country song about Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. But I never heard anything quite like this before either. And it really works. And somehow you can suspect that Chris Acker experienced this as a child or something like that. Or maybe his dad talked about it all the time. Kind of amazing building a character out of Bill Bruckner and all this stuff. It's kind of thing I guess I say this again, it makes you realize there's a lot of stuff that has never been written about. Or how about this really kind of astonishing composition? It's the kind of thing that might occur to you when you don't know what to write about, and it's November 8th. But this is a really beautiful, interesting piece of writing, I think. And the title is 11/8/23, the date. Sitting around the kitchen table playing this something or something.
Over there on the cutting board, chunks of garlic are stuck where they dried. And on the windowsill, a neglected yam has roots from its pores starting to climb. But the aromatics, the carrots, the shallots are deglazing in white wine. Smell of good fat grease, rice and peas, citrus and blackened spice. A car bench seat sits beside the sink, wedding invitations on the fridge. And that broom that hasn't been used since the last time I used it. The stove clock reads 13 to 2 o'clock, whereupon time will continue to build on time. Memories like beads on a string, how they used to hang in the line. Memories like beads on a string, how they used to hang in the line. I imagine altercations and fantasize some situation where a good friend does me wrong. But tonight I'll see him at the bar where I meet him and forget I think so.
All right, well, I mean, that's just close, specific observation that I think ends up working really well and just giving you a sense of what someone's life is like and stuff, or even gives you a sense of your own life, what your own life is like in its details or whatever. So I think these are related albums, sort of by an old man and a young man. I don't know how old Chris Acker is, but I'm pretty sure Gurf is pretty old. Gurf Morlix, In Love at 0 Degrees, and Chris Acker, Famous Lunch. 2 excellent albums this week. Later on.